Okay, so happy Friday, everyone. Today we are talking about our binomial theorem. So what we're doing today in 5.7 is we are learning how to expand any binomial, so we have two terms, to any power. So without, the key word is without foiling, which is nice because foiling takes forever. So here is the first thing we need to know. The first thing we need to know is Pascal's triangle. And the way we come up with this is we take one is our first number, then we have 1 and 1. We come up with our next row by dropping down a 1, and then I add the two numbers above. So 1 plus 1 is 2, and then I have a 1. I do the same thing for the next row. We always start with 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. 2 plus 1 is 3, and then I just drop my 1. Okay, we can continue this on as long as we want to go. So again, we add the two numbers above in order to find the numbers below. So it's really important because what these are going to be is these are going to be our coefficients for future reference. So again, a reminder how I came up with these numbers is 4 plus 1 is 5. Let's back up a little bit. 4 plus 1 is 5. 4 plus 6 is 10. 6 plus 4 is 10. And 4 plus 1 is 5. So that's just kind of an example. So the key is these are the row numbers, but they're also the degree. So when we have a first degree, second degree, third degree, that's going to be the matching row we use. If we have a seventh degree, something to the seventh power, these are the coefficients we're going to use. And this will all make sense in just a minute. Okay, so what is the formula we're going to use? The formula we're going to use, we're just going to start to the third power, something easy, okay? We always start with one more number of blanks. So if I have the third power, I'm going to make 4 blanks. Okay, those 4 blanks later on are going to be filled by our Pascal's triangle. Okay, then I take my a term, and I have a cubed first, and then you go in descending order. So I would do a squared, followed by a to the first power. Okay, and then obviously nothing. So it goes 3, 2, 1, 0. Now I go backwards with my b term. So first I'm going to have b cubed. Going backwards, I now have b squared. We have b, and then we have nothing. Okay, so we have our a and b terms. Now we need to figure out our coefficients. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look at my Pascal's triangle up here in the right-hand corner. I know it's pretty small, but it's to the third degree. So I'm going to go to the third power. That third row is with the number 3 is what I'm going to be looking at. And then I fill my blanks with those matching coefficients. So first I'm going to have 1, then I'm going to have 3, then I'm going to have 3, then I'm going to have 1. Then we put our plus signs in between. Okay, so in a minute we're going to do an example, but we're not going to be using a's and b's. We're going to actually be using a binomial with variables and numbers. Okay, so let's take a look at our first example. We're going to do 3x minus 2 to the 5th power. So how many blanks am I going to need? I'm going to need one more than 5, which is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and my first one, this is my a, and this is my b. So I'm going to go ahead and say a squared, or to the 5th power, right? We always start to the highest power, and then I go in descending order. So 3x to the 4th, 3x cubed, 3x squared, 3x, and then 0. Okay, you notice I'm putting all of these in parentheses. This will come in handy when we're plugging things into our calculator. Okay, now I go backwards with my b term. My b term is negative 2. You have to include the negative. So negative 2 to the 5th, negative 2 to the 4th, negative 2 to the 3rd, negative 2 squared, negative 2 to the 1st power, and then nothing. Okay? From here, we have to fill in our blanks. So I'm going to use Pascal's triangle, but this time we want to the 5th degree. So I look for that number 5. You notice here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The number is the number of the row we're going to be using. So that's the row I'm going to be using there. So 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, and 1. Okay, and it's starting to get a little mixed up. It's starting to get close. Okay, but then I need to put in my plus signs. Okay, the trick from here is I need to use my calculator. I need to not only cube the x, but I need to cube the 3 as well. So 3 to the 5th power, not cubed, excuse me, 3 to the 5th power, I get 243 times x to the 5th. So that's my first term. Here, first I take 3 to the 4th power, then I multiply it by -2, and then I multiply it by 5. You have to be careful of your order of operations here. So we end up with -810x to the 4th, because I have to distribute that x here, or the 4th power to the x. Okay, then I take x cubed, or 3 cubed times -2 squared. -2 squared is +4. So +4 times 27 times 10, we get 1080 x cubed. Okay, then I'm going to square 3, and I'm going to cube -2, which is -8. You have to be careful of your negatives. And then multiply by 10, so I get -720x squared. Okay, and then I have -2 to the 4th times 3 times 5 is 90 times x. And then I get -32. Okay, it's very, very, very important here that you watch your signs. You have to watch your negatives. So here's an example of where we didn't FOIL it out and we used our pattern. So let's just try one more together. So 2x minus 3 to the 4th. So I'm going to have 5 blanks. Okay, I have my a and my b term. My a term is my 2x. My b term is -3. So 2x quantity to the 4th, 2x cubed, 2x squared, and then 2x. Now I go backwards, starting with -3. -3 to the 4th power, -3 to the 3rd power, -3 to the 2nd power, -3 to the 1st power, and then we don't have anything. Okay, and now I need my Pascal's triangle. Okay, and I'm going to be looking at the 4th row. So 1, 4, 6, 4, 1 right there. And that's what we're going to use. So I plug those in for my coefficients. 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. We add in our plus signs, and then we have to simplify. So 2 to the 4th, we're going to get 16x to the 4th. Okay, and then I have -3 times 2 cubed, so -3 times 8 times 4. 96x cubed minus 96x cubed. Then we have 216x squared minus 216x plus 81. Okay, you must show your work. I know if you have an Inspire, we know how to expand using our Inspire, but you have to show both of these steps. Okay, and not only that, but you may or may not have a calculator. So be careful. We need to know how to set this up without foiling. So that's the point as we use our pattern. So our homework for this weekend, let's change pens here. Homework for this weekend in 5.7 is 9 through 21 odd, 27, 33, 37, and 41. Okay, we are going to have a quiz next week. I'm not sure if it's going to be Monday or Tuesday, but you need to be ready with questions and have all of your homework done. So that includes 4.5, all of 4.5, all of 4.6, that practice sheet, and then 5.7. So that's what I expect you to have done on Monday. I hope you all have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday.